Very good morning to all of you, my dear students. Today we are back with our experiment table to understand the concepts of simple machine little bit further. Okay, so let us start our exploration. First of all, let's see this magnificent image here, that how so many coins can be balanced by just two coins if we know how to calculate and how to divide the load and effort perfectly. Then it could be done easily. We can lift so many multiple times of weight by using simply less very minimal amount of effort. Okay, so today we will explore this. So in our last class we understood that there is a formula to calculate this, and the formula says that load arm into load is always equals to effort arm into effort. Okay, so in this particular case, how many coins do we have here? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, 6 coins we have, and on this hand we have 2 coins rather. Okay, so it says that and this is exactly at 5 centimeters. Okay, so 5 centimeters into 6, that means 5 6 are 30. So 2 coins at 15 centimeters, it is 15 centimeter, and 2 coins 15 into 2 30, it is exactly balanced. Okay, this way we can find anything. Okay, we have 4 things here. If any 3 things are given, we can easily calculate the fourth thing. Okay, let's say if we know the effort arm is of 15 centimeters, load arm is of 5 centimeters, load is of 6 unit. Okay, then we can simply do what, and we don't know how much effort we need to lift this load. Okay, let's say we don't know this, we only know this much. So what we will do, we will multiply this and this, that means 6 into 5, which gives us 30, and then we have 15 centimeters here, so we will divide that 30 with this 15. So what we get? 2. So if we will judiciously put 2 coins on the on this end, it will be balanced. Okay, similarly if we know this one, okay, if we know this one but we don't know this one. Okay, now we know that our effort maximum power which we can generate is 2 coins. Okay, and we have uh, this much of length of, let's say, our load arm. Our load arm is of 5 centimeters, effort arm is of 15 centimeters, and our effort is of 2 unit. Then we want to know how much load we can lift with this machine. So what we can do, we can multiply 15 into 2, that gives us 30, and we can divide 5, divide 30 with this 5. So what we will get? We will get 6. That means if we will keep 6 coins, we can lift maximum number of 6 coins with this simple machine over here. Okay, maximum number of 6 coins. If we will keep one more coin or remove one more coin anywhere, if we will just remove one more coin, it will be problematic. If we will keep one more coin, let's say it is balanced, let me first balance it. Okay, now it's balanced. Let's say we keep this coin, what will happen? It will simply fall down. So what we understood, that it is fixed, we can't, this formula is universal, it will follow always. Okay, it will follow everywhere on all the simple machines. Okay, all the levers, to be precise by now. Okay, okay, now we can also have a look at the examples given in the book. Here in the first example, as you can see in this example, uh, you can have a look on your book also. It says that load is given 42 kgs. Okay, and load arm is 0.7. Okay, and it's asking us what is the effort arm. So and effort is 35 kgs. So what it has done, it has simply multiplied 42 and 0.7 and divided it by 35. What do we get? We get 0.84 centimeters. That's our what? Effort arm. Similarly here load is asked. Okay, and then we also have yeah, mechanical advantage. What is mechanical advantage? Mechanical advantage of this machine is what? 2 is to 6, that means 3. 3 is the mechanical advantage. So we can simply calculate mechanical advantage also. Then we can calculate, yeah, in both these mechanical advantage is asked. You can have a look at that example for better understanding. Okay, so these things we can easily calculate. Okay, now There are three types of simple levers. Okay, levers of first order, levers of second order, and levers of third order. Okay, so levers of first order is this one. This is the lever of first order where the fulcrum is in between effort and load. Okay, in second order lever, the load is between fulcrum and effort. Okay, and in third order lever, effort is between fulcrum and load. Okay, just to remember this, I will tell you a trick that you can write. If f is written, what you can simply in which number you can simply turn it 1. If you will simply remove these the two lines of f, what will be remaining? 1. So that one is where the fulcrum is in between. That lever is lever of first class. Okay, and first order, first class is also somewhere given. First order, lever of first order. And if the load is in between, that means if load is written, 2 can be converted into load if you simply little bit change 2 and load is little bit similar, na? So 2 second order, lever of second order, what is it? In where load will be in between. Load will be in between means on one side there will be one thing and on another side there will be another thing. So we have only two things left. What are they? First one is fulcrum, second one is effort. So fulcrum and effort will be on both ends and load will be in between. Third order says that 3 can easily be converted in E. Okay, so effort will be in between. So effort is in between, then on one side fulcrum and on one side load. Okay, okay, now we can see that all these examples are given like balance, scissors. Okay, uh, I have one scissor. Yeah, scissor. What is this? Where is the fulcrum? In just in between, this is our load. Sorry, this is the load arm and this red one is the effort arm. Here is the fulcrum. The which order lever is this? This is of first order. Okay, okay, similarly we have many other examples like claw hammer, seesaw, simple lever to lift things. So these things we can understand that everywhere fulcrum is in between. Okay, wherever, like this also, where, okay, leave it. It's okay, we can understand this, that fulcrum, wherever fulcrum is in between and load and effort are on both sides, that one is lever of first order. Clear? Okay, now let's move further. Second order examples are whenever we try to cut something, or a wheelbarrow or a mango cutter. Let's say this is our mango cutter. Okay, let's say this is our mango cutter and this is mango. Okay, we have to cut it. So what we will do, we will cut it like this. Okay, so where is our fulcrum? Fulcrum is here because we have to cut like this, right? Fulcrum is here and our effort is here and load is here. Where is the load going? Load is going on the mango. Mango is in between. So this way we are cutting. So this one is load, here the load is, here the effort is, and here the fulcrum is. That means load is in between, the L for 2, similar L and 2. So this is second order. Okay, and examples are given in the book. You can have a look. Wheelbarrows and mango cutters and many other examples are also given. I will ask you, but you can, before letting me ask, you can have a look also, so that you can answer them. For better understanding, my dear students, always follow the book. Your books are very good. Okay, ICSE books are really better than CBSE, I would say. The pattern, the system, the way things have been presented is quite marvelous. Okay, so always have a look on the book for every chapter. Then we have third order. In third order lever, the effort is in between, and obviously for E here it is E written E. It is looking like 3 now. So similar. Okay, so here effort will be in between. The effort is in between. That means fulcrum is on one side and effort is on another side. So let's say this is our hand. Let's say that is what is called spade. That kudali. Okay. So you have never everywhere in our localities it is very commonly used tools in all the construction sites. You must have seen it somewhere or the other. So let's say we have to, this is some kind of sands and all those things they lift now using it. So they put it here, hold on, they put it here and they lift it like this. So what is being done? The points are load. My left hand is what? My left hand is the effort through which I am lifting it, and right hand is the fulcrum. Okay, you understood it? This way I am lifting it, this way. So this one is our fulcrum, which is quite stable all the time, and this one where the coins are put, this one is the load, and here is the effort from where I am lifting it. Okay, okay, so these are three kinds of, here also many examples are given, we will have a look. Okay, and this is the thing, lever. I hope you understood all these things, all these three types of levers. First one, the fulcrum will be in between, one side load, one side effort. Okay, in second one, load will be in between and one side fulcrum and one side effort. Okay, and on third one, load will be on the left side, one side load, one side fulcrum, and effort will be in between, like this. Okay, maximum number of maximum force is generated, maximum, you can say, uh, mechanical advantage we get in second order, where the uh, it is always greater than 1, mechanical advantage is always greater than 1, and it is also called force multiplier. Okay, so this thing is, I hope you got the concept. If you have any confusion, we can discuss it more. Okay, then we have an inclined plane. What is inclined plane, my dear students? Inclined plane is the simplest of the simple machines. Okay, let's say we have a structure we need to climb. Okay, and what we have to do, we have to come from here, and then we have to, if let's say this much is our size, we will walk, and then we will look up and it will look very tall. How will we climb? So we have invented a simple machine. Okay, let's say this is our simple machine, we kept it here. Okay, and what will happen now, we will walk, and we will climb. Okay, we climbed. Hooray. So it was easy, but it was not very easy because this climb was also very steep. But if we will use this type of, uh, let's say, inclined plane, then we will walk. So this one was easier. So this is the main thing about inclined plane, that the longer the length of ramp is, the easier it is to get on it. Okay, climb it, and the shorter the distance is, the it is more tough to get over. Okay, let's see, have a look on the few examples. A ramp is built, a ramp in buildings to raise cars from the floor to another in a parking lot. Okay, or to move wheelchairs in a hospital. You have many places, you must have seen these types of inclined planes, I'm very sure about it. Okay, uske baad, and then we have, as the gradual slopes along hilly roads. This is very interesting, my dear students. Have you ever been to uh, a hill station, or in a ghati, which is in particularly known as a ghati? Have you ever been there? You will see that the roads are like this, they are circular, as if some snake have left its track and then roads built on that track. Why is it so? Why is it so? It is a type of simple machine. That road itself is a type of simple machine. How? It is a type of inclined plane. If you will simply try to climb that uh, mountain straight up, then it will be very steep climb. Okay, and the vehicle may fall down, or may, if it is turned off in between, it will slide down. Many mishappenings and fortune will happen with those vehicles. So to protect that, our engineers have came up with a brilliant solution. Let's see here with this example. Let's say this is a mountain. Okay, okay, let's stand it. Okay, now it will be better. Let's say this is a mountain and we have a car and we have to climb. So using a car climbing here, you can imagine, if little bit you know about driving, even if you have seen cars, you can imagine, if this type of slope is somewhere and you have to simply take your car and climb, it is really dangerous, isn't it? And quite impossible to do it. Okay, but if we have a road which goes like little bit 5 degree 10 degree slope till here, then 5 degree 10 degree slope till here, then one inclined plane till here, one inclined plane till here, one inclined plane till here. Okay. So we can easily go on this mountain. This is always used everywhere whenever there is a mountain or a hill and road is built. Always these type of parallel inclined planes are kept on the road to let vehicles climb over it. Okay, this was very interesting. Okay, and then in in flyovers built over road, yeah, in flyovers also inclined plane is very useful. Let's say we have a train track going from here. Let's say this is a train track and we want to cross a road from here. So we can't make a road like this, then this, then this. It will be impossible to climb over it. So we make a flyover. Flyover is also a kind of inclined plane which helps us to get over a certain height and then climb easily uh, below to the same level. Okay, so I hope this thing is also clear. Okay, now let's talk about screw. Screw is also very interesting. I have actually I was finding it from so long, that's why it took so long for me to find this. Finally I took it out from the electricity board. If my mom finds it, she will sue me. Okay, I will put it back after the class. So this is a screw. I hope you can see this because it was important to see it, otherwise it will be tough to understand. Okay, now what we have to understand is that screw is also a type of inclined plane. As we talked about that Ghati road, so that was little bit longer turns. If we shorten those turns, even short, just turns after turns, it will look like a screw. This is what it is. Okay, but you don't have to go back, you have to continuously take turns. Okay, and then it is a type of inclined plane, definitely. Now you can understand now that I hope you can see this, that continuous turns are there. Okay, continuous turns are there. What is, if you will straighten all those turns in a straight line, it will look like an inclined plane, right? So an inclined plane which is curved, curved inclined plane, you can say. And these things are called threads. Okay, they allow us to uh, do certain things very easily. What are those things? Let's see. First is that screws are used to fasten two pieces of woods or metals. The threads of the screw grips the wood or metal firmly, so the screw cannot be pulled out easily. This much you understood, that if simply we rotated it went in, then all the gaps are filled with that substance which is there, and when you will pull it, every gap will produce a lot of resistance, isn't it? A lot of friction, static friction, and it will not allow you to take it out. Okay, but in case of nail, the friction will be sliding friction, and we already know that static friction is much more than sliding friction, because there will be nothing to stop it. If a nail is being nailed in some surface and a screw is being screwed, so if we will try to pull out the screw, we will face a lot of static friction. Things are stuck in between these threads, and those will not allow it to simply slide. They will produce a static friction. But in case of nail, there is no thread. It will simply go in, and if we use a nail remover, hammers have no that hook, and if you will simply remove it, it will come out. Why? Because there will be sliding friction. It will slide in the beginning just for once. It will have static friction, but once it is little bit loose, it will simply come out like slide out. Okay. Okay, then we have a corkscrew. It is used to pull out the corks from the sealed bottles. Okay, we don't use these types of cork screws in our day-to-day life. That's why we are not very familiar with it. But yeah, you can understand that same technique we can use with if the bottle is there and we screw it inside, and then we will pull out, the cork will produce a lot of friction, but the friction which the cork will feel with the bottle will be very less than what it will feel with this screw, so it will come out. Okay, next we have nuts and bolts. They hold things or components together are used in several ways. They provide strong bonds. They do not break even under great pressure. That's why this type of simple machines are used in almost all the complex machines. You will barely find any machine which complex machine which will not have any screw. Okay, it is must, because they are really marvelous engineering. Okay, and they help fasten two things very perfectly. And even if under great, let's say if you will weld two parts of iron, and if a lot of vibration is there, what will happen? Slowly it will break one day. But if it is fastened with a screw, what will happen? Slowly it will lose and produce sound. Then you will come to know that there is sound, that means there is something loose. Okay, and then you can again go and check which nut is being loosed, and you can fasten it, and then it will be again like new. So it is better to, instead of welding, it is better to screw it. Okay, nut bolt. Then we have a jack, which I saw you that day also in that uh, government bus depot, that we rotated it and that screw came up. Okay, so that can be used for lifting many tons of weights of trucks and buses. Okay, that is also a very useful tool. Then we have marine propellers. um, they are also known as screw propellers, work within the body of water below a boat hull, and they move through the water to drive the boat forward. So they, what do the propellers rotate like this. Okay, and they, in the threads, they push the water. Our fans are also a kind of this kind of screwing. They screw the air. If you will look closely, all the blades are tilted little bit like this, just like the propellers. All the blades, if you will look closely, you will see that the blades are little bit tilted. So they, every blade, what they do, they push the air below. The air which is on top of them, they push it, they cut it, and they push it below. Okay, so this way they create a lot of wind. Okay, so I hope I am clear enough, and we understood all these types of machines. In our next class, we will explore further the different types of machines. And if you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. I will try to explain that portion in which we have doubt in our next video even further. Okay, thank you very much.